Oh God.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is Thaddeus, and this is
Darius here with the white.
Exactly. And today we're going to be interviewing the amazing Peace Stealer. And sorry, we're just laughing. We're having a blast already. So.
Oh, whoa. We got the sound up.
We got our sound on.
Okay.
I love that.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. So, catch up with everybody. Yeah. So, early in our journey with the Peace Stealer, he did an interview for us on, and that was, I'm going to say, what, a few months ago?
Yeah, and it helped out a lot.
It helped out a lot.
Like a major boost. I feel like no one knew who the hell we were until that interview.
Yeah. We met a lot of cool people because of him.
Totally.
And now this time we wanted to interview him because through the months, Darius has been working with him. I got to know him a little bit more. And so now during this interview, this is our chance to get more in depth and get to know the Peace Stealer more. Because he's a hilarious guy, and there's a lot of stuff I want to know as well. Because I'm like, oh man, I've been wanting a Texas guy, but now he's on here. So as we're doing this, you all get to see and get to know more about him. Some of you who already follow him, you may know some of these things. Some things you may not know, but it's new to us, new to me. So this is going to be fun. I'm really excited about it because I've seen some things that he's posted on his Facebook, and they are hilarious. And I would love to ask him about that. But that is my piece so far. What do you have to say, Darius?
I know the Peace Stealer. I've been following his channel for like years, dude. Like I remember when astrology was my first love. I feel like astrology is like the gateway drug to spirituality. It's like the marijuana of the spiritual world, astrology. So I started off with, wanting to know about my moon sign and stuff, the risings. And when he first started on YouTube, but when I first got into him, he had like, Virgo and all these different planets and so forth. So it was like a really nice foundation for me to just continue to learn about astrology. And I just been following him over the years and so forth. And once I started to do my own intuitive work, his name kept coming up to me, the Peace Stealer. And now I've always felt like he was like a hippie brother to me in a way, like a hippie kind of older brother, because I'm a hippie myself. So to me, it's like the biggest compliment ever to call someone a hippie. Like, whoa, you're an awesome person if you're a hippie. So I felt like I was just drawn to his work because he takes it seriously, but it's from a very kind of like chilled out perspective. It's not something that he's obviously very good at it. He's obviously very intuitive. I feel he's like a spiritual mogul, if you will. But he does it in such like a very chill, kind of relaxed way. It's very welcoming. You aren't intimidated by him. While if you see like other astrologers, you might think, oh wow, these people have 20,000 plus subscribers. They're kind of intimidating. I feel like he's someone you can talk to. And as a result of that, I have the great opportunity to work with him. I currently work with him on his channel. I do videos for his channel. I do intuitive readings under his brand, and I'm just honored to be a part of the Peace Stealer's brand. And I'm glad to have you here, dude. My first question, a very simple question. How do you pronounce your last name?
Yeah.
Like how do you, I don't know, because when you said Michael, I'm like, is he going to try to pronounce the last name? Yeah, I don't like how, it's like N-E-B-E. How do you pronounce that?
I don't know if it was Nate.
No, it's a great question. So in the Igbo language, N-N-E is actually one letter. So N-N is actually one letter. So it's like you hold the N, so it's pronounced Nebe, and it means
Nebe.
Yeah, I mean,
where are you from?
Nigeria.
So like, where are you? Nigeria. Interesting. Okay, you're born and raised in Nigeria?
No, actually, I was born in Phoenix, but my parents are born in Nigeria. I've been back.
Okay, awesome.
Times though, it's pretty interesting for sure.
How so? Like, give me details.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. We got a Virgo in the building right now, so
we do.
It's interesting in the sense where like it's almost like living in the Wild West, because like certain rules don't apply there, like due to like government corruption, like out in that general area. It's just a good way to see how this country is, just like without the enforcement of certain rules. I mean, you still can't just get away with anything there, but it's very humbling. It kind of shows you like what's really out there. The food's good though,
Nice.
but yeah, oh definitely. But it's just kind of like any third world country. Like you get to really see real poverty, but you also get to see, you know, certain traditional customs. I appreciate going out there because it's like, even though there's not as much, you know, luxury, and that's not to say, like, compared to 10 years ago, the developments in the country have been like astronomical. Like you can now they have like digital towers to where you can download data and go online. They're even renovating that, so it's developing a lot better as a country, and you can see the next generation taking over. The music scene is popping out there too, which surprised me. It's really awesome. So, you know, the stuff that used to be like bad about it's becoming a thing in the past. It's still a problem though, like when you look at the politics and whatnot. But other than that, you know, it's definitely interesting. I do look forward to going back in my 30s, seeing how I can like help renovate it and whatnot. But very interesting. It's worth going at least once. Just make sure you bring a friend or someone who knows. Because another thing about it is, if they can tell you're from out the country, they will try and finesse you like really bad. But I mean, that's like anywhere you go though. So
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Yeah. I definitely get that.
I believe that we choose the life we're living. I feel like we're all spiritual individuals. We're all on a soul level. We're all gods, if you will. We're all creators. So I feel like we pick and choose what part of this physical experience we want to experience. What part of, like, why do you think you chose to be from Nigeria? Why do you think you chose that kind of ancestry?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question, because I just recently got confirmed. This one lady I gave a reading to, she had mentioned that there's a certain energy that got transferred to me in my soul, kind of like a jinchuriki. Yeah. So I'm beginning to realize, like, I personally feel like I'm the reincarnation of maybe one of the members of my family who started the line. So I feel like I'm here to really close out the karma. And
Okay.
like, and symbolically, like, I'm the first one in my whole extended family to be born in America. So I felt like that was kind of symbolic too.
Wow.
At least just out of the country. But I really feel like karmically it was just to, in a symbolic way, I don't want to say transcend, but close the lessons my family was like cumulatively throughout the line meant to learn. And it's like I'm coming back from maybe establishing it to like finishing it in a certain way or evolving it. We'll see. But that's a really good question, because ultimately the true answer to that, I have still yet to. I feel like I've gotten to the point where I'm close to fully realizing why. And now it's like, maybe once I go back, or maybe once I complete another lesson, I'll fully get the true reason. But that's the working.
Okay. So you say you have a specific person you go to for readings. But you yourself are very intuitive. I don't want to say guilty of this, but I do the same thing. For me, it's like fun to gain that outside perspective, intuitively speaking. Why do you think you do it? Why do you go to someone who's intuitive while you're also being very intuitive yourself? What do you gain?
It's I didn't say that right, actually.
Okay.
The lady who gave me the reading, it was during a reading of hers, and then she was like, I just feel the need to give you this, like, the last 20 minutes of my reading. Let me know. I have something to tell you. So I wasn't even expecting it. And like, she was a Sagittarius, so it's just kind of like, you know, it'll just hit you out of nowhere with a wild card.
Yeah,
like
totally, just whatever.
But yeah, she just mentioned it. She was like, yeah, I was in the dream realm, and I was told to confirm this with you before I go further, but you have something within you, and it's something that you're gonna have to release. And once you do, it'll help you align more your conscious intent, but it will remove the protection from you, since now is kind of giving me more responsibility. So like if I did go dark, then I would, it wouldn't be the influence of this energy, which is cool and all. But like before that reading, like I never told her any about that. Like it was something that I had already internalized. I guess in her head, she was like wondering, I wonder if he'll be open to this news. But in my head, it's like, how did you know? Like I didn't tell anybody this. So I thought that was really interesting. But that's a good question. Like I recently stopped going to people for readings. Like my soul at some point just said stop going. I think it was more so like since it's an effort to teach to have me trust in the guidance that I receive, and also in a sense where it's like a part of me doesn't really want people now to know what I'm going through. It clashes with my Gemini side. That's all free and open. Like, well, I don't care. I'll just let anyone know. But it's yeah. As far as intuitive guidance, like I've been kind of checking on my diet. Like I don't even watch it. I think it's a theme certain people are going through, but I don't even watch like intuitive videos anymore. I've just kind of like been closed off to a while. Even my own videos, like I don't even watch. Like I think some of it is laziness, but I've just been really like shutting out like the channel for now. And I know I'm gonna go back to it, but I think for now I'm kind of like distilling my senses, so I can kind of like learn what's my insight and then what's another insight, or let's not say what's my insight, but just learn how to tell the energy signature. And then I feel what's gonna happen is like when this kind of like transforms, then I have to go back and watch everything again, like with new eyes or something like that.
I hear you. I feel the same about my videos. I never watch them. I never review them. I kind of record them and I go. I feel like I was there when I recorded, so I know what happened. Why do I need to watch it? That's how I feel. But whenever I watch it, I always get the craziest kind of like synchronistic message about something that just, it's so crazy how that happens. The same thing. I did the same thing. Do you find yourself ever watching like when you do stuff, you just kind of do it and it was done and there it is? Yeah.
And you channel yours. So do you ever feel like you're listening to it for the first time? When you
all the time. I don't, when I'm done, dude, I'm done. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what I said in my last video, but when I watch it, it's like, wow, that guy's good. I kid you not. I'm like, wow, that dude is good. Seriously, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. I just talk and like, okay. But then I'll rewatch it. Like, holy fuck, that's cool. That is really cool. So yeah, I do that all the time. All the time.
That's really awesome.
So I think because me and you were talking about this. So what is your source? Like where do you, if you can share, if it's not an insider or whatever, we know whatnot. What is it that's your source? Where do you go to get your information and your clarity and things like that? So what's your source?
Oh my God, that's such a great question. I didn't realize, wow. You know what? I didn't realize how much I don't really even acknowledge what that source is, because I usually just, I would like to think that I just kind of channel from the infinite void of the universe, but I don't really think that's the case. I know the way I personally channel is my soul will pick up on a spot and I just kind of let the energy flow through the vessel. But I don't think I've established a source I connect to. And it's actually been a source of confusion, because that's really the reason why I don't pray as much, because it's like, who am I talking to? And I didn't realize it. You should establish a source so that you at least know what you're channeling from. And there was a period where I would just kind of be free flow, like, well, whatever wants to flow through me. But I do know, no, that's a good question. I'm not necessarily sure. And so I know with my Taurus energy, they say the specific degree, because it's closer to the end, it channels from the Palladians, but I'm not specifically sure that's indeed the energy. And that's something I'm going to look more into, because I have an idea, but the way I kind of feel about it, I really feel I'm really stubborn. So I feel like I have to have definitive proof to know that this is the source. But I'm going to actually open up to finding out. I know I've never really asked, so it's something that I'll look into. I get the feeling, though, it does draw in from maybe like a solar source. And I do channel more of light energies, but then again, from whenever I would channel more darker insights, I like to think I have like a A&R or a connect to the dark world. If you think of like those guys who used to be con men or prisoners, but then they have to use their skills to help police officers like understand how the criminals work. That I kind of feel like I have that kind of energy too. Like someone will let me know, oh, this is a dark energy, watch out. But it's more like, you know, they have no choice but to let me know. It's not that they have no choice, but yeah. But even then, I'm not entirely sure what that exact source is too. So I would have to, now I definitely have to look into it, just so, with discernment being a big deal, you know, it's good to know what. But yeah.
Okay.
It's a really good question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I noticed something too when you pray and stuff like that. What's thank you. What's I've learned, like, for me, it's just for me, is like a lot of people say, you know, pray, but I've learned, like, for me, I'm like, okay, praying is talking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I meditate, I listen.
Yeah, very
so
true.
I would go to my source, and I'm like, all right, I think I adopt that as like my form of prayer. Like, hey, my typical, like, hey, all right, what's going on with this? And then next thing you know, I get it. I'm like, all right, cool, got it, done. And I'm out of the way with it. So when you said like the praying part, I was like, huh. And it made me think, I'm like, do I do that? But yeah, dude, that's pretty cool, because I know I was having the same conversation with this older lady a few days ago, and she was saying, she's like, yeah, I pray all the time and this, that, and the other. And I was like, okay, well, do you listen after you pray? And it wasn't in a slick way. I was just like, you know, do you listen afterwards? And she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, when you're praying, you're talking. It's like, if I'm talking to you, that's praying. Like you reach out. I was like, now, do you stop to listen? She was like, huh. I was like, okay, do your homework on that. I was like, do your homework on that. But it just made me think of that. I was like, huh, okay, all right.
That was nice.
I had to ask. I was like, do you listen? You know, that's a key factor in that.
And
so
I hate to interrupt, but that has been like my biggest issue. Like, I've had spirit channel themselves through certain people in readings to be like, you need to shut up and listen, because all I do is talk. And like, and when, now that you mention that, like, I do kind of sometimes feel a response, but I didn't really realize I could listen. Now, this, once again, this has to do why it was hard to locate the source, because I'm still coming into trusting, and it's like, I'm gonna do that homework and just like trust what I hear. I feel like Archangel Michael is a source, but not necessarily in the way it may be thought. Because once again, this is still just trust. Like, how do I know these beings are these beings, really? But yeah, as far as listening, that would really be solved if I listen. So lesson learned right there. I'm definitely keep that in mind. And I like how you said meditation is listening too. That's a better way of looking at it. Instead of just like staying still and having to breathe and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Because when you meditate, you can do it in different ways.
Very true. Like I said it before, but I meditate to Family Guy. I sometimes put on like comedy shows or something that's very of this earth to just get out of my mind of it having to be very like kumbaya, because that to me is annoying. I don't want to go into deep meditation. The thought of that annoys the hell out of me. I'm very impatient. I want something like very quick and fast. And when I do readings, I'm the same way. I don't want to have to wait for the guidance. I want it now. That's why the way I channel is very like, because that's just how it works best for me. And I think it's important to do what's best for you in all aspects of spirituality, but just in life in general. But spirituality mainly because while doing what's best for you, you're being authentic. Mm-hmm. And authenticity is essentially being you on a soul level. The mind is what you're doing. Okay, I have to meditate. I have to do this. That's the mind. The soul doesn't have to do anything. The soul just has to be itself. And when the soul is being itself, it's expansive. It's expanding authentically, you know? So whatever your soul is wanting to do is what is best for you to do. And that you're going to attract those who complement that and then some. I feel like I'm talking to myself when I say that, but yeah.
I get you. Yeah, like when it comes to stuff that I'm gonna say have to, because that's how it works for me. When I have to do something, there's this like I always say, I describe it as this force. There's this force inside me that builds up, and I know through years of experience with myself, like, okay, this is building up. That means I need to stop for a minute and sit my ass down and listen to what's there, because it'll build up, and it literally feels like a big ass bubble is like expanding, and it's just like it's gonna keep getting bigger until you sit your ass down. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to do it. I'm gonna do it. And I'll force myself to sit down, and then boom, I get all of it in the knot. Not a knot, but the feeling goes away. It's like, okay, I got the lesson. I feel freer and more expanded and stuff like that. But it was just like that. I've learned that through years of the experience when to listen and when to, you know, talk. But when that comes up, yeah. But yeah, that's that. There was another question I was going to ask you. So, okay, wait. So when did you start coming into your, where you are now? I can say gifts, but I don't want to limit it to all, like your awareness, all of that. When did you get there? And then I'm asking another question after that relates to that, but we'll start there. When did you become aware of all of this?
Okay, so, and that's the one thing I love about this journey. I have to go back in time because, like, what I realized recently is that certain things I'm aware of now, I've been trying to tell myself back in elementary school, and that like freaked me out. As far as like the spiritual awareness, it really kicked in like 2011. 2012, that was around the time when like I started to get more into Santeria and the African traditional religions, because there was this man who my sister introduced me to, because I came from Bible study with my mom, and I was like, oh, this feels empty, like I don't know, and then my sister's like, well, I can introduce you to someone, I don't know, and then she introduced me to him. I had my first tarot reading from him. I was like, oh my God, like, how did you know all this? And this is when he started like basically like enlightening me about like, you know, and then especially not just what I appreciated about him, which was interesting because later on I realized he was a con man. So he actually wasn't, but he was clearly part of my like, you know, transition. And it's interesting, like he not only kind of taught me like the importance of shifting from Christianity, but he also taught me, he went to Howard. So he also kind of gave me that perspective as being a Black man and how my spirituality has been influenced too. And that was the first time I was hearing all this too, just for relevance. So I was just like, whoa, like it was a complete, but at the same time, he also told me like astrology is BS. Like, and this was when I was just starting to read horoscopes and get into it. So if it wasn't really for me holding on to the astrology, I would have been so lost, because there was a dark part of that path where, you know, he showed me the nice side where it's like he can help people with it. I would see him sacrifice certain chickens and like, you know, offer it up to this gourd or that gourd. Like there are certain parts of it I was able to see. I went to Puerto Rico so that I can go through an initiation process and like get to know the religion. And it wasn't until after I came back and I realized I was lying to my mom because, you know, well, I didn't just realize, but I could kind of see the effects of it. Like, well, my sister and I got caught at some point because we were driving to Howard, and once again, like in order to mask certain stuff, we were all, my sister, me, him, his wife, like grown men and women would start acting like all weird when my mom would ask them like real questions. So we were lying, of course, because it's like, you know, my mom was devoutly devoted Christian. We believe this dude. We were like, you know, we can't have her know because she'll get in the way of the spiritual growth. So we were under the impression that we were protecting, of course. But then after everything blew over, after I had that heart to heart, and it just kind of realized it which is not the wisest thing. And it taught me how naive I can be too. But I can see why it kind of had to happen, because it didn't have to happen like that, but I can see why it went through. That was my 12th house transit too, before Jupiter went to the first. I was really isolated from everyone else, kind of the symptoms of when you join a cult. You know what I mean? But after that blew over, I started doing astrology because he left the town. I don't think I've ever seen him ever since then. He tried to reach out after, but I just kind of let go when I realized it's just not for me. He just wanted money for me to send so that it could be stuck in that chain. And which, I mean, I'm sure there's a different perspective, but after that, I started making the YouTube channel and doing like readings, because during then he taught me how to read tarot cards too, but I wasn't really as good. I didn't really have faith in my skills. My sister was just like natural. She already got it. She's a Cancer though, so I guess that kind of was in it. But yeah, you know, after that really, and then my sister started going to Howard. That was kind of what helped me transition to at least open. I think if I didn't go through that, it would be harder to transition as far as spiritual beliefs. And this kind of set me free, like, okay, what can I really do through this? And then, you know, 2012 up until now was just receiving a bunch of signs and synchronicities to point me in a certain way. I didn't realize that the universe had to like slowly open my mind to accept certain things, because certain things that I didn't really want to accept kept coming through. The whole notion of like having this angelic energy and then this demonic influence that I both have like within me. And it wasn't until just recently that like I was listening, I realized some rap songs that I had written before I was even like into the path of astrology. Let's say 2014, I had explicitly written in those songs how like I had this influence, and it really made me realize how much I channel in when I write. But then I went even more back in time, and when I was in West Orange, going to a Catholic school, there was a day where me and my two friends wanted to make like trading cards, because we were Pokemon and Digimon was all big then. We were like pro Digimon. We were like, Digimon was better, but we were like, let's write our own let's draw our own like trading cards. And I didn't realize until recently, the very first trading card I drew was this being called Dangel. It was half demon, half angel. And I didn't realize I had like drawn a likeness of the essence or what I've been channeling. So, well, maybe I don't want to say that's what I'm channeling, but it just kind of really hit home. Like spirit has always been talking to me through like experiences. But as far as recently, like which came with more listening and more surrender, I've just been seeing all the pieces come together. And I thought I had awakened before, but it's really teaching me that it's just all preparing me for a true mega awakening, where it's like, instead of it just being one process, it's a gradual process where you become more enlightened and aware. But yeah, it definitely took ironically, the more readings I've done, the more experience I've gained. And one thing I appreciate about doing readings or about connecting is that the answers that I've needed or didn't know I need have come directly from other people, where everyone just gives a special fractal and adds more to the mystery or to the realization of the mystery. And then of course there's that whole thing when you realize the more you're truly in line when you realize you know nothing. So that too. But yeah, great question. I hope I answered it somewhat well. But appreciate you.
And then there was something else you mentioned. It's kind of like a question that's like for everybody. You mentioned 2011, right? That's when you started to get things. And I'm noticing like around that time, 2011, 2012, a lot of stuff is happening.
I agree.
Like that comes up a lot, like this shift, or people started to be aware. It's kind of like everybody got this wake-up call around that time. Yeah. So when you said that, that made me think of that. So I was just curious if you experienced something as well with that.
Yes.
So okay, that was that. And I think you had a question.
Yes, you spoke about having to be at peace with the angelic energy and the demonic energy within you. How do you? I like to discuss the darkness a lot because I feel the darkness is something we don't want to talk about. So it's like this big elephant in the room we don't want to discuss. How did you incorporate the demonic energy you currently possess into what you do?
First of all, acceptance was a major part, because it wasn't until recently that I accepted it. That lady who was in the reading, she was saying that that I had a demon in me, and I grew up Christian my whole life, so I didn't really at first, before I even had the reading, by the time she told me that, I had already accepted it because of signs and whatnot, and like just a general acceptance. So it really made so much sense why I've had interpersonal relationship issues with people, where it wasn't until recently, I don't think I was aware of this influence as a kid, but it's been really difficult to deal with feeling that negative. And now I can understand why I've never been mad in my life. Like, I've never been in a position where I've let myself fully go or been unconscious, because you know, a large part of what I'm here to do too is contain this energy and purify within myself. But general acceptance of it, especially kind of opening up to its cunningness, because it does provide some kind of advice. I think I'm at a stage where I'm really starting to understand more what it is. I'm kind of trying to get more into the politics of what makes a demon a demon. Is it really a demon, or it's just like a darker energy? So I kind of see this more as an analogy of having to balance light and dark energies in this lifetime, a yin yang apprentice of sorts. So yeah, you know, dealing with that energy helps me understand more what causes another person to hate, what causes someone to feel negativity. I feel, because I want to get deep into exorcism work and like dealing with impurities in others, I did get the sense that in order to exercise or deal with darks in others, I would have to exercise myself. And I didn't get that at first, but now that everything's come out, it's starting to make sense. So it's like, just once to read your question, like that was, and I kind of went all over the place, but you were asking how am I aware of the energy, or how do I cope with the energy?
I kind of forgot the exact question, but like just how how to utilize it, basically. I guess you answered that already.
And to go more into that sometime, and that's another thing I've been realizing, it's linked to my body. Like it carries a lot more of the earth energy of my chart. So I've been having to, I'm in a position and I'm initiating, and it's like I have to really balance it. To give it a chance now to control more of me, so that now that it's open, I can control, subdue it. And it's teaching me indirectly the power of my own will and my shortcomings. But it's utilized through helping me sense dark intent from other people, and part of my intuition too. It's very much so a part of me. I'm starting to realize I don't want to identify too much with it. And once I release this seal or something, that's really going to change everything. But yeah, it's definitely helped me. It helps me connect with the shadow and other people as well. And it helps me embrace being a Gemini so much more, because like clearly each counterpart will play that archetype per twin, let's say. Gives me meaning to that actually.
Okay.
So
okay. That's pretty cool. It's like his Kurama.
Kurama, yeah. Kurama.
Yeah. Like when you were saying that, I'm like thinking of Kurama. I was like, okay, it's Naruto.
I don't know. I know the show.
Let me leave him over there. Leave him over there. Let me take this for a minute.
I know what that is, though. Like, I know what that is. I just don't know.
The Nine Tails.
Oh,
in
okay.
Naruto.
Yeah. Okay.
You can come back in. So it makes me think. I love his innocent face. He's like okay.
See, I don't know names. I know energy. Like you know, they
Yeah.
tell me how the person feels. Like, okay,
Yeah.
that one guy, but the names, no idea.
Nine Tails, Kurama.
Kabuto, who the fuck is that? I don't know these names.
That's the one with the glasses, and
Okay.
Orochimaru's like, you know.
I know him.
Yeah,
okay.
okay, yeah.
See, I watch all the episodes. Just
Right.
don't know the names.
Right, but
yeah.
Kurama, you know,
Yeah. Now
kind of like main character ish.
Okay, kind of.
Ish.
Kind of.
Ish. But
Yeah.
when you were saying all of that, it reminded me. I was like, okay, so it's like Kurama stuff. Like when you were saying sense and stuff, I'm like, huh. So I was about to say, I was like, so have you like went in and is there like a cage, and then like do you like borrow some stuff, and then after a while you like master that? Like literally, that's kind of how it sounds to me, like in a very cool way. Like that's where my mind was going.
It's a really great question, because that show helped me understand that dynamic like never before. Soul Eater too kind of hinted at it.
Yes.
It's good. Yes, very good.
Love Soul Eater.
Yeah, where I wish they like, I wish they were able to end the anime more close to the manga, but still a great show. You know how Soul had like the demon,
yeah,
and whatnot. So certain kind of archetypes like that help me understand. That's what I appreciate about Naruto. Like when he was a kid, he wasn't aware of Kurama. Like it wasn't until he started doing his ninja work, and then certain stresses made him more aware. So I feel like I'm just now at the area where I can finally start to envision how I connect with it, because I'm starting to really understand what's me and what's it. I'm at the stage now where I need to release the seal that's holding it down, so that I can harness more of its energy, as far as let it flow through me. And that's kind of where I'm at next, because I feel like what I'm trying to do is more collective shift, where we're all going to be able to feel our energy more, and it's like an acceleration of pressure, or at least conscious intent, where we can like harness the power of our aura, whether through meditation. So I feel like the way that it'll affect me is allow me to align, because one of the downsides I personally feel about having this energy is it's hard for me to align with myself, because the energies are contradicting. So I have internal war with myself a lot. Like I'll really fight with my mind and my body, and I've never really had that unison, which I'm sure I can achieve, but that's really more what once this is kind of like balanced, really. There'll be a better flow. Up until then, it's just really hard because it's even like if you've ever seen Kanye, like, you know, laugh and then just like,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we've seen that plenty of times. Yes.
Yeah.
it's legit how it feels. Like whenever I feel positive energy, it's gonna block it because it's like love. Oh my gosh! So it's like have to like balance both to where um it's really hard actually. But that comes a lot with my own personal discipline and like implementing techniques. I don't meditate enough. I don't really breathe as much as I should. Things that'll kind of bring more balance. So yeah, but other than that, like I think now more than ever, because I'm having my Saturn return, um, this energy is specifically said, oh yes, I'm waiting for your Saturn return. I think it is a large part channeled through Saturn, like, I'll take your body for my own. But I really just see it as like the main fight. And the way this fight's working is like the more I give in to my temptations and my fleshly desires, the more it kind of takes over me. So it's like I have to more than ever be filled with self-control, because if I can't fight my own urges or the way it cunningly tries to monopolize my time, which in a simple psychological facet could just represent like my vices, you know, then it will take me over. Then I won't be able to control myself. So it is what it is, though. I'm definitely hopeful. It's a lot. I don't want to underestimate that force. And once again, I feel like this is this is something we all go through to a degree. You know, I guess I just kind of have personally archetypalized this in an extreme way in my life, but it's uh it's been fascinating just to at least go through, because a part of me still wants to be 3D and just kind of forget this is true and just be like, no, I don't have this force inside me. It's just like uh imagination, or it's just like it's not what I think it is. But every day there's another starting discovery. So I know very soon I'm reaching that point to where it's gonna directly I really feel breakthrough coming through, because one of the even cool parts is certain people, they'll resonate with just that. Like they'll when I deal with people of the light or people of the dark, certain people that resonate with my spirit, certain people that resonate with just that, where that's all they interact with. Some that don't even know that they're evoking that energy, or they're like that's their soulmate in a certain sense. So it lets me know how certain people bring certain parts out of me and whatnot.
Okay.
It's interesting.
So like two things come to mind is, have you ever tried with the we're gonna call it the Jing Cherokee in you, because you didn't give me a name, so I'm just gonna go with the Jing Cherokee or the J. That's the J. Big J, because I was like, that's a mouthful. It's like Jing Cherokee.
The BG.
J. Have you ever tried creating a space within yourself where you and it both can exist, but without it taking over? It's kind of like that middle ground, kind of like where Naruto has it, where he can kind of go in, and the Kurama is behind the gate, he's on the other side of the gate, and they can talk without it like bothering him. So what I'm saying is, have you ever tried to create a safe where it's the middle ground, where you can communicate with it freely without it bothering you? And that's the first question. Keep that in mind, because there's a second thing. And then also, instead of balancing, have you ever tried to bring about harmony with it? And what I mean by that is, when we balance, it's like a cutoff of both.
Yes,
like if you're trying to do that, it's like it cuts it off. But when you find harmony, because they're both extremes, if you allow the harmony to come into play, both extremes will come in when they need to come in without a constant fight, without it clashing. It's like, okay, you're not needed this part, I need to come in here, it lets it do its thing. Okay, your role is done, boom. But it's a harmony, it's not a fight. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, they exist. So that's the second question. And yeah, so on you now. Yeah, answer it. Yeah, I'm like trying to make sure I got it.
No, it's a great question. No, I don't think I've done. I think I assumed the first one was just like that, but it would make sense to even reestablish some kind of form, and that's another thing. Like the effects of visualization. It's exciting to see how they apply. Sometimes I feel like if I were to visualize it, it wouldn't really do it, but that's not necessarily true based on experience. So I'm gonna work on that. And I really love that whole theme of harmonizing. I'm gonna, instead of clashing, really work to do that. Because it really has just been clashing before, where like I'd be it's basically like a Gemini beefing with a Capricorn. Like they just counteract. But the harmony is necessary and possible at that. It will really require, that's really what gets in the way of harmonizing. I don't always have trust in it. And when I do, though, it does harmonize. And I just got to learn how to trust. So I'm going to keep that in mind.
Yeah, bring it. Continue. Sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to end by saying, like, I'll think of a way to balance it. And that really would incorporate consciously communicating with it and not just leaving it down there. So genius idea for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You're a Capricorn moon, and the moon is ruled by Cancer, which is a water sign. I feel like Capricorn is like the earthiest sign of the earth signs. I think of a Capricorn like a big ass fucking rock, and a rock in water doesn't really go anywhere. It kind of just stays there. So how do you manage to tap into your intuition while having this rock in the place of your moon sign? How does that work?
That's a very great question. And before, it used to be so hard because I used to be so in my head with everything. And the reason why, I think the reason why my intuition has developed or is so powerful is because Saturn's right on my moon, and then Uranus and Neptune are on there too. So that kind of like,
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, just kind of like tunes me into that realm, or I'll just kind of know things. And it's a really good question because it's not traditional. It's not like I'll just feel it. It's just kind of like my body will tune. It's like it makes my body a psychic antenna. And
Okay.
yeah, and then I just kind of like the energy will come to my body, and I might feel it vaguely, but then I sense it as thoughts. What I'm learning to do now is to be more in my feeling, sit more in the feeling to understand the sensation. But that's a really good question because it is really the whole nature and signature of the intuitive vibes is stern. It's like an old man or woman giving me the intuition, instead of like a soothing, soft presence either too. So it's very sharp. It's very definite as is. That's kind of my experience with it. But I would say because of the outer planets, that's what really makes it. That's what kind of just draws it together. And then Saturn will kind of give me the control. But once again, great question, because I feel after my Saturn return, like I'll fully be able to master and understand it. Because yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're kind of waiting for these transits to impose wisdom on you as opposed to taking the leap of faith yourself?
There we go. That's it right there. And that's been a huge deal. Like, I really feel like that's what I've had to do more than ever. Take that leap of faith. And that's where I get in my head again. And it's like I almost try and find answers before I trust my intuition instead of trusting my intuition. So yeah, that's a really good question. I am waiting, which is so counterintuitive because I don't want to wait. But I mean, I just need to take that leap of faith, if anything. So yeah.
Okay, so what way in your life deserves a leap of faith? Like, is it business wise? Do you have an idea you want to present to the interview, perhaps, or something? What part of your life are you wanting to dive more into?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would say trust in myself. I think thankfully, as far as business ideas like that, I'll just outright do if I feel like doing. But I've had to have leap of faith as far as the leap of faith I have to have is concerning a connection with so whenever I get into that whole twin flame soulmate thing, I've been having the most like I've been trying to shut it out, but I'm gonna have a leap of faith and just embrace it because I've been trying to know all the answers, which is just the wrong approach. It actually taught me a lot of how like I actively get in my own way of like manifestation or really like getting in my own way really. So what I really want to take a leap of faith in, which I just recently did, which I think is so symbolic, and I'm grateful for being able to do this interview, but believing in myself, really, really taking a leap of faith. Whenever I have an intuition, I won't question it anymore. I'll just kind of like, even if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm just going to really push myself to listen more to both forces, which is another thing. Like, just as equal as the dark has reached out, the light has reached out too. I got the sense that the light was I grew up with the light, and now the dark side's like, okay, the light has had custody over you. Now it's my turn. And then after you walk both paths, you choose, right, what you're going to do with it. And the light will be like, don't forget what I taught you. You know what I mean? But I really do want to have that leap of faith to once again trust myself. Sometimes I feel like I should just drop everything. Well, before here, I felt like I should just drop everything and just like walk out to where spirit guides me. And thankfully, I've been led here. So I'll see where that goes. But very fascinating question, because I know the tests will come to where I should believe myself, even if I don't, and I'll take that leap of faith now. So yeah.
Reminds me of Riku a bit.
I don't know what it is. So, I have no idea what you're talking
Is that Kingdom Hearts?
Yes, that's
okay,
what I was.
Okay.
Stay over there now. Take a sip of water. Let me handle this over here. But yes, you remind me of Riku a little bit.
Oh my god!
I've been there. So I was like, oh, it reminds me of Riku, light and dark. Okay. So yeah, that's from Kingdom Hearts. You know, it's a very powerful story. Very powerful stuff in there. It's life changing. I'm so serious. It's so life changing.
Everyone who loves that game says the same thing you are.
It's so life changing.
Everyone says that.
But what I was going to say though, yes, that is Kingdom Hearts. But what I was going to say, a suggestion more, is have you ever tried utilizing? I term it a bleeding effect, and what I mean by that is, from the outside looking in, and I'm hearing you say about trust, and I feel as though you have a lot of, how can I put it? You have a lot of assets or resources, in a sense, experience where you had to trust with your intuition, helping people, readings. I would say just as where you are right now in your life with, you know, all the people you have who follow you, watches you, who comes to you for advice, it's like you develop that intuition, you developed who you are now. So when you have those times of doubt or not trusting yourself, what I mean by a bleeding effect is, if you have trust in one area, you can bring a part of that into another area. Like, okay, how is it that if someone asks me about advice for them about their life, I can just go into the state and I can get information. So I trust that I know I can go at least to that step and at least get something. So if I can do that here, I can at least use a part of that energy in this area. So it's kind of like you're kind of talking to yourself in a way of like, all right, I'm having doubt here, but let me just stop for a split second. I've helped over like 100+ people. This is you. I'm talking about you. So this is you thinking in your head that you've helped a lot of people. So it's like, okay, and these people trust me, and I trust that I know what I'm doing, and I trust that it's coming through. So I can use that trust in this area right here instead of like closing it off. It's like you're allowing that trusting energy that you innately and naturally have to just come into this area where you're doubting. Does that make sense at all?
It makes perfect sense, because that is the number one dot whenever I need to and interestingly enough, whenever I doubt, it's usually going to be a voice I project, like an outside voice, like, oh, this isn't so. I'll have like the imaginary arguments where like I'm pretending I'm talking to someone, so I'm learning how to sort through what I would say in a real situation. And that's one of the stuff I tell myself, like, you can't doubt yourself, because you make a living off of like people confirming stuff you've never met. Like, you can't pick and choose when to be psychic, right? Like, you can't just decide you're no longer psychic when you don't want to believe in something that's not true. So that's so well said. Like, that's so true. And that's what helps me kind of embrace it, you know? Because in this path, there's some things, you know, that you may not want to know, or you may hope isn't true, you know, especially about other people. So it's like, damn. But yeah, definitely awesome.
Okay. Coolio. You have a question? Oh, because I have a question. Just like a change in the flow we're going, but I'm so very curious to know, is everything okay with you and your fan? Because that post had me laughing and cracking up. Oh my God. I was cracking up when I seen that, and I'm sorry, but when you was like, if someone says it's an electrical problem, I'm gonna fucking kill them. I so badly wanted to say, is it electrical? I kind of wanted to leave a comment like, you sure it's not electrical? But
honestly, I don't know anymore. It's like, I feel like there's certain people who have mixed reactions, to be honest. Like, there's some people who are convinced, like, nope, see, it's a spirit. Like, they want to let you know they're there, but I just kind of want to. I am the type of person to play devil's advocate until I'm fully sure. So I won't necessarily, I want to kind of open up to the idea that it's both. Like, there is some kind of electrical reason for it, but I feel that electrical reason was spurred on by some kind of, and I don't even think it's a ghost. I'm really feeling it might be the effects of my energy releasing and me learning how to be aware of my auric presence. But rationally speaking, the fan, of course, shouldn't be on. So all I can think of is maybe when I turn it on, electricity disperses and it just kind of runs. The only thing that kind of frustrates that theory is when, that's why I appreciate that video so much, because like it legit stopped and then it went the other way, and it was just like, no, this makes no sense. So I don't know, like, it could be anything. I don't know. It's truly a mystery to me right now. Like, it still happens if I turn it on, like it'll go on and eventually turn off. But yeah, really, I'm just not. I personally feel intuitively it's a discharge of energy that might be reacting, because theoretically, like, the thing that you use to turn on a fan is like it's off. So its natural state is it should be off, and I can kind of understand if maybe after a couple of months, like, it kind of tripped and an electrical current kind of goes through for as long as it does. I'm just kind of interested in what triggered that, and what might have caused that to occur. I really feel more it might just be like an energy imbalance. And it might not even be me. I think it just might be the increase of energy in the area. But yeah, sometimes it definitely picks and chooses when they come on, but it's kind of weird because now, like, the fan that's not supposed to be on is on, and I'm really interested. I'm just waiting for what's next. Like, what's another paranormal thing that'll occur? Well, I don't even think I can call it paranormal, but yeah. I did sensationalize the crap out of that, though. That was there, but
I was amazing. I was cracking up. I was just dying on that. I was like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
My dad was like, "You're having a public meltdown. You should think seriously about what you're doing. You look crazy." Like, he dead ass like was not pleased, but it is what it is.
Okay, all right. So switching back, I had to go there.
That's fine.
I had to go there. I had to go there. I was waiting for that. Totally random, but have you ever had moments where your future selves came and spoke with you?
Ooh, that's so good of a question. In fact, I appreciate you, Thaddeus, because like it's like you're guiding my mindset in the right. Both of you actually, it's definitely like guiding my mindset in the right place. Yeah, they have. There was it was for. In fact, I'm gonna pick up communication again, but it was just to really make me aware of the point that this future timeline exists. Like, first of all, my future self, before revealing it, wanted me to go back to my past self and to feed it Reiki energy, like heal your past, heal how you present it. And it's like, you see how you can go back in your mind and like do that. That's what I do to you.
Yeah.
And it was like, in order for me to release that seal, or in order for me to evolve, or whatever that sensation I'm trying to gain is, I have to incorporate my future self. Because if I train myself to think in that quantum level, then it's like, and my future self was, if anything, trying to say that it needed me in the present moment to open that doorway for it to be able to come through with my focus. So I don't know why I didn't really incorporate that more, but yeah, that's a really fascinating question. I see it as my higher self. So in a lot of ways, like I talk to it without knowing, like, and then I listen and I don't realize that's really the voice I listen to certain times as well. It's a really great question, because I want to really incorporate working with that influence more. And
Okay.
yeah.
And
See,
then
say or do. Yeah.
okay. Have you ever had the experience, like, so if you've done that before, have you ever had the moment where, I'm gonna, for lack of better words, experience where time repeated itself, in the sense of not like deja vu, but like just as you, okay, here we go. I'm gonna try to put this in words. You may get it. Let me know if you get it. Just say I got it. But it's kind of like, okay, say for example, you went back in time and you did Reiki on yourself and you experienced that sensation as, let's just say that was you when you were, I don't know, 7. Then have you, say for example, experienced something when you were, let's just say 20, and then now you get back to a point where you come in meditation and you realize, wait, something happened to me at 20, and then you see the full scale that was you from the future doing that to yourself, and you're like, whoa, like I just experienced that little time repeat, but now I know that that was me from the future who did that, and now I remember that. Have you ever had that or no? And that sounds very weird.
No, it doesn't. Not yet. Actually, I feel it's one of the. I feel like you're jogging my memory, because I can't. I feel like I experienced that, but I didn't know I was experiencing that. So, and once again, it's gonna feel a little bit. I felt more the deja vu-ish kind, but I think, yeah, yes, it happened when I did this freestyle on a Saturday morning in LA. Like, I just freestyled this rap. It's called Worst Freestyle Ever. I'm a SoundCloud rapper, so I got all the and I didn't when I freestyled at first, that was another one of the tracks where my future self outright like stated who it was. And it wasn't until I listened to it that I was like, oh crap, like sometimes I listen to it with synchronistic events and whatnot, but it wasn't until like I realized, damn, that was my future self like channeling itself through me. And that was one of the times where I realized, wow, like it's not just me, like there's Something that, but it's so interesting because at that time though, when I made that track, I just made the track and I moved on, and I didn't really ponder that much until maybe a year or two later, and I would say that was one of the experiences to. But then there's another physical sensation. I hate that I don't remember, to be honest. But I feel if anything, I'm going to have that experience. So once I do, I'll remember your words, and it won't necessarily be as confusing. And I'll know that I'm re-simulating what my future self might have been doing or maybe doing, which is important. This may even be such a moment right now.
Cool, definitely. I got another question, but do you have
Go
one?
for it. No, this is good.
Oh, okay. Now, as spiritual beings and whatnot, we are all aware, the world we are playing in and all the cute little stuff. But have you ever experienced yourself outside this world? Meaning outside of what we've been
outside
taught.
my body, right? But just outside the world.
Outside of everything, like outside of the spirit, outside of the body, the game, the simulation, just outside of all of that. Have you ever experienced stuff like outside of like everything? It's kind of like, okay, like we experience everything is like a game and whatnot, but have you ever like paused the game, like how you would pause your PlayStation or Xbox or whatever and go into the kitchen or go outside and go do an activity? Like that's the world outside the game. So have you ever paused here?
Interesting. Good question.
That's a really good question. Yeah. I feel like Sagittarius is really good at doing that. I heard Styles P in a rap say he has to go to sleep just to get home, and that like click something, and you're like, oh damn. But I can't really say I ever remember it. Almost happened once when I was on a mushroom trip. When I was on a LSD trip, I had taken this guy came in with like mad mollies and LSD. Surprised that wasn't a very crazy part of my life back then when I was in El Paso, and like I had taken the Molly, it was in a white tab, and I felt more open than ever. My heart was so open. I was like, this is it. This is what I've been missing. Like, this is the secret of life. Just like have your heart open. Later, though, of course, I would come down and it'd be the whole, no, wait, what was that feeling again? But after I had taken an LSD tab, that just completely switched my trip. I call it a bad trip, but it opened a gate in my head that has never been closed ever since, to where like I kind of hear thoughts and whatnot, but it wasn't open in a pure way. So I've been having to deal with that. But yeah, during that trip, I did feel the sensation where I was on a table with people and I could feel myself leaving the game. It's like I could feel myself ascending with everyone. And then it's like I started to see everything shift, and it's like, yay, he's waking up. And then my mind was just like, bloof. And then I came back down, like, not yet. Like, we're staying here through this. So I kind of feel like I missed an ascension bus, or just kind of like, and that kind of in a split second gave me the sense that we're here, but then more people than I expect are awake out there. And they interact here. It was a weird feeling. And other than that, the only other time, because I haven't really like sat down and done the energy exercises to induce out of body experiences, but there was this one time I did it on accident, and I didn't realize I had tried to wake up, and I got out my bed, and then I was like near my fan. Try to do it again, and then I could see my fan, and then I try to get up again, and like it was really light, and then it wasn't until like I woke up that I was like, holy crap, like I just left my body. But I wasn't aware that I didn't know I was out my body. I just could remember the sensation, but it wasn't really like a full OBE, because once again, like I thought I was like trying to get up for real. But yeah, that would be the closest sensation. Other than that, I had like a couple lucid dreams that were Inception style. When I think about it, that made me, I didn't even know my dreams could be infiltrated like this. But, and it was not really infiltrated. It was the visitation rather, but yeah, once again, I really feel like now that you're saying that, I'm gonna have that kind of experience to prepare me for it. But that's about it. Now, I have had a couple more, but they're blocked from my memory.
Okay.
There is a part of me that's wanting to block me from this. I think partially when it thinks I'm not ready, and another, it's like once you see something, you see through any deception. So it's like there's a part of me trying to fight myself from getting that control, so I can still be fooled by certain things. Once again, it's like me getting in my own way, I think.
Yeah.
Do you said you lived a very like a crazy lifestyle while you lived in El Paso? Do you find that kind of psychedelic lifestyle induced or enhanced your spiritual perspective today?
Yeah,
Because I as well, I had a very like shroom heavy year last year, like shrooms out the ass, acid here, you know. I just love shrooms. That's my thing.
yeah,
And I feel like it helped me immensely.
it does.
I don't really do it as much now, but I want to know your perspective on that.
I think it's a generational influence. Our generation definitely, like anyone from like 88 to even 95, like we kind of needed drugs, not to be abused in the way that some of us may have done, but it was a necessary facilitator. As far after I had like my last ayahuasca trip and peyote, I was like, oh, okay, like I'm not gonna do drugs anymore because I've been wanting to escape with it, but I'm not gonna get it was that kind of taught me, okay, this is really more. I really do just have to control myself and be sober in a sense to where I enjoy the sober life. But what I took away from it was mushrooms is definitely something I would personally like to grow my own mushrooms, cultivate it, bless it, maybe do it, and then I'll just save it for new moons and full moons because psilocybin is so amazing. And outside of that, like it's really psychedelics have really I kind of didn't do it the most. I think where I will change. I'm sorry. I kind of went through that phase where I abused. I was smoking weed like every day. Thankfully, I wasn't doing psychedelics every day whenever they would come around. But I was the smoking weed every day kind of highlighted issues of where it was really just self-control because I was bored. I wanted something to do, right? Alter my state of mind. And it was really more a form of escape. But it really did also, you know, Amber Khan, ironically, when I had that interview, she would tell me, she actually mentioned, oh, you actually should smoke weed every day. And this is when I started to, one thing about these drugs, there's a spirit behind them. There's definitely pharmakeia. There's the altered states of mind. There's something that with this gateway energy helps interacting, which is what I realized doing this helps you interact so much well with these energies. But just when I'm about to stop a habit, like especially smoking on so many different occasions, like my neighbor will come through, hey, you want to smoke? Or someone who I barely talk to will be like, hey, how you doing? This literally happened. Like I was smoking my last blunt. I was like, I'm not going to smoke anymore after this. This lady messaged me out of nowhere, like, hey, how you doing? I really love you're on fire lately. This is awesome. Literally said, make sure you stop drinking alcohol, but the weed, keep smoking. I was like, what? Like, how did you know I was smoking my last one? And then the next time I was about to stop, I had that interview with Amber, and she was all like, oh yeah, you should smoke weed every day. And it was like, what? But then I'll also have people who come out and reach out to me when I'm smoking every day, like, yeah, you should stop smoking, at least take a break, you know, get your dreams back. So I could see that polarity. And then as far as like just drugs are concerned, I'm very grateful that I got to experiment so I can see like the bounds of my consciousness. I've never really done heroin or speed or like crack or anything, but I've definitely been grateful to like experiment with the different bounds, ecstasy, you know, mushrooms, just to really see how possible it is or what kind of happens. And then plus when you integrate it with other people and what kind of experiences you gain, which is really the most Important part, ironically, the people who you connect with and bond with, but then at the same time, it's the most dangerous part because it taught me that when you do certain kind of energies like this, you can't. That's the thing I took away from it the most. Like when you do stuff like this, you have to have the most sacred energies. My bad. Let me replace my phone, my camera battery because my battery just died.
It's okay.
Yeah, it just kind of taught me that discernment is not only important, but like you got to kind of be like a high priest or a high priestess, and cleansing. This part of my spiritual journey has just taught me how important cleansing is and making sure everything is purified before you do something. Like if I was ever gonna do, every time I do like certain hard energies, I ritualize it, I sanctimony it, I kind of offer it up to the guys instead of just doing it recreationally. Not the gods, my bad, but instead of just doing recreationally like I did as a kid and like, oh, you're supposed to just get fucked up and whatever. So it is what it is. But yeah, great question.
It's interesting you say that once you're about to quit smoking, someone comes into your life and gives it to you, because the same thing happens to me all the time. Like I'm not currently purchasing weed myself right now, but I have people just throwing it in my face. I will literally come in contact with someone I've worked with for like several months. They had no idea they smoked. Go to the house and she smokes me the fuck out just out of nowhere. And it's like I'm the highest I've been in years. It happens all the time. All the time. So I wonder if that's like us on a physical level creating that, or is our soul wanting that?
Yeah.
So I go through the same thing. I don't know. I don't know if I should stop, because I feel like when I smoke too much. I'm just high, and it's like, okay, I should probably slow it down. I'm doing too much. I'm not as active. I'm not proactive in the things I want to create. So I'm thinking, should I smoke more? I don't know. It's not so much balance; it's more so harmony. But I have yet to find the perfect harmony of how that works. I don't know. I'm the same way, dude. Totally the same way.
It totally teaches me self-discipline. Like if I can like what I want to do is if it's possible, I would like to limit any sort of drug activity. Although all I do really is just smoke right now, but like I want to limit it to new and full moons and do it once every 2 weeks. So one, my tolerance will finally go back up because I don't even get as high anymore when I smoke.
Yeah.
Which, is not really that good. And then, or if I smoke, what I want to do is like, it's the last thing I do in the day. So it's like,
yes,
everything.
That is very important. Maybe the last thing you do, because when I start my day off high, nothing happens.
Yeah.
If I get things done, I do have to end. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
Totally.
So other than that, and that is a great way of harmonizing, because then everyone wins. It's like, you finish the day off, you got everything you need done, and then now you can just really chill. But even that's a struggle, because I do feel like there's just this adamant part that's like, screw that. But that now is where we get into philosophy, because I get the sense that at a soul level, there's a lot we do here in 3D that I think we will actively fight ourselves over, because like the spirit self realizes the futility in a lot that we do, that we feel like we have to do. And it's like, no, you don't have to do it. But I don't have that kind of, I'm too stubborn. I'm just like, well, sorry, this is what works. But see, this is what I have to have a leap of faith, like you're saying, or like you mentioned. And this is and that's one thing about this journey that's really like got me very interested too, because like certain things that I'll get in my way of doing, it's not until later I'll realize, oh, I just kind of dodged a bullet because I didn't do it. And in the moment I thought I was being lazy, and I thought that I wasn't trying to be conducive, but my soul was trying to avert me from wasting my time, like doing something. Point in case, like I'm currently communications right now where I am, and I was dropping out of my business courses. I dropped courses 3 times. I can't even finish my business course, like, because I dropped classes too much. I would need some kind of appeal. So the counselor I was at was like, oh, you know what? It's actually a blessing in disguise that you did, because you would have been in the course for 60 more credits, which is like a good 2 extra years. And you could just finish in a year with communications, which is what I originally wanted to do. So I wasn't supposed to like skip class. Like that was of course my issue of not being productive. But if I didn't listen, because when I was, it wasn't that I was just skipping class. It deep in my soul was like, I don't want to go. Like I can't, like you're wasting your time. Like stop. And I didn't know why. And now I kind of really got it. So it kind of taught me to really trust more that feeling. Before I thought it was just because it didn't want to stubbornly, but if I had actually listened to that voice and went in, I would be able to have switched my major way earlier, if anything. But yeah, really, really helps me. And that's going to come more with harmonization. That's one thing I'm going to take away from this meeting call. And harmonization from you, Thaddeus, and leap of faith from you.
Yay!
Awesome. I'm excited. So, well, now, okay, so fortunately we have to end it soon so we can actually have it up on the iTunes and the SoundCloud. Yeah, because what is it, like an
hour and 30 minutes?
Hour and 30 minutes, yeah. That's the suckish part about it. So we have to do part 2 or something like that.
I'm down.
Like, I want to do a part 2, like with the peace dealer here. I feel like we just kind of just started getting into stuff.
I can keep talking. I can totally keep talking.
Yeah. So, okay, well, when can we do a part 2 since you're on here?
Ooh, good question. That's a really good question. Let's do January.
Okay.
Let's do sometime next month. And I definitely would love to have y'all back too. I want to, anyone that I kind of return, I want to really have like we should have like a weekly talk show or something like that. So
down for that. So down for that.
Totally.
Yes, let's do it.
I'm totally down for that. A weekly talk show. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm down.
Special guest every week that we bring on too. So we'll see. Yeah. We'll talk about it. But
yeah, let's collaborate on that. For real, yeah. Okay. All right, so that's something that's in the works right there. I gotta get your number. So I'm a text or you handle that.
Yeah.
You handle that.
That's what's up.
So I guess that's that. So yeah. Well, you usually end it all professionally.
Well, what I do? Now I'm nervous. I don't know. Thank you. How? What are you talking about?
Like, all right, adios.
I mean, you can judge. I guess. Make sure you guys go to his website at thepeacedealer.com to book an intuitive reading. You can also go to his YouTube page and subscribe to his. He posts videos all the time, dude. He posts like live shit all the time. You can have all the information in the more info box. I hope to see you guys soon. It was awesome having you, dude.
Really,
awesome having you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Likewise, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for your patience, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate that. And this is like a great start to my morning. Like I'm all energized now. I'm so grateful.
Hey.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sweet.
All right, dude.
All right, my man. Hasta la pasta, everybody.
Hasta la pasta.
Hasta la pasta.
All right.